Hello everybody and welcome to another Halo Infinite Forge tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can apply traits to your players in-game. This will be really useful if you want to do a mode like Juggernaut or Infected where you have different player movement speeds, slide speeds, health, all different kinds of stuff. So I've already gone ahead and I've added in a spawn point here by just going into my object browser and then going into player spawning, and I added this initial spawn point already. What I'm going to do next is just go to scripting and then script brain so that we have a new script brain, and with the script brain selected I am going to hold Q and go into my node graph. I am using a keyboard and mouse, so I'm not sure what all these bindings will be on the Xbox controller. However, you should be able to find those pretty easily. I'm going to go and add a new node here. I'm going to go into traits. So if you're in the node browser at the top, just make sure to scroll down to the bottom and you'll see traits. And then I am going to declare a new trait list here. So the trait list is a way that you can kind of collect a whole bunch of different traits that you might want to apply to a player. So traits have to be defined before the game runs, or really at the beginning, so you're not going to be able to go and modify these trait lists at random, but you will be able to create any number of trait lists that you want, and you could switch between them during gameplay. But I'm going to go ahead and just declare that trait list, and then I'm going to add another node here for let's do slide speed because that will be a lot of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this trait in here. Since, again, this trait list collects, or it is a collection of traits, we're just adding a bunch of different traits in here. So I could also go in here and then grab, the sprint speed and apply this. And I could apply even, let's see, bonus health, and so now we have 3 traits in here. Let's just keep it like that. And the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to supply all of these scalar values. So the scalar value is just a single value, and in this case it's used to define what each of these values are. So how long we slide, the top speed that we can sprint at, those kind of things. So in order to fill out those scalar values, we need to go down here to variables basic, and then we can add in a number. And now, since I know I need a lot of numbers here, I'm just going to hit Control D to duplicate this, and I'm going to do this a couple times, and then start connecting these nodes up. So what we're doing here is we're just basically filling these out by creating these connections here for the named sections. Now, in order to modify these number values, what we can do is, by selecting one of these number nodes, is hit R and then go into the node properties, and then we're just going to give this a value. So our slide speed, let's set it to 10. I'm not actually sure what the defaults are, so we'll just have to see how crazy this is once I actually do this. But the other ones we should be able to get kind of an idea. Maybe not so much speed. I'm not sure what these units are. I'm not sure if actually the description on them does tell us or not. I would be interested to see that. So if we go to traits and then let's see, like jump height. Okay, a scalar of 1 is the default. So I'm going to go ahead and assume probably 1 is the default on all of these. Yes, it is. So those are actually pretty dramatic. Let's do something a little bit different on these. Let's do something like 2. Okay. So right there you can see if we want the player to be able to go 2 times as fast, what we would do is just put a 2 in here. And so now we have double our max sprint speed, and the time to get to top speed, we could cut that in half. So like the player just starts running real quick. They get up to the full acceleration, if you will, in half of a second. or rather half of the time it would take. And then here for our bonus health, I'm going to just add 50 bonus health. I'm going to assume that's based on a 100, 200, having your shields there. So, okay, we've got this trait list, and we want to apply, let's see here, we still need to declare this trait list, so we need to give it a name. So we're going to do declare trait set. So we have trait sets here, which are the named instances of these traits. So I'm going to go ahead and get this identifier here, and I'm going to give this a name. So since this is a trait set, I'm going to do traits and then special traits. This would be whatever you want to name it. It could be traits zombies or juggernaut, whatever you want. Maybe you have an astronaut. So now we have our trait set declared. So when the game starts initially, this will be handled just like your usual variables. So now we need to actually apply these traits to a character, and in order to do that, we're going to find an event to hook to. So this event could be anything. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on the on-player spawned event because I will have access to a player and I'll have an event that can drive it. So I'm going to go to events players, and then I'm going to go to on player spawned. So whenever the player spawns, let's zoom in here, I am going to, so let's open up our node browser again and then go down to traits, and then we're going to apply a trait set. So what this takes here, we're going to connect these two, so whenever this event here happens, it's next going to trigger the apply trait set node, and we're going to just drag this player into here. And then we need to set this identifier, so I'm going to go into the node browser with the apply trait set selected, and then I'm going to go to identifier, and then we named it traits and then astronaut. So that should be right, and then apply immediately. We're going to set to true, and so let's make sure traits astronaut, and then we have yes. Okay, everything's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this, so whenever any player spawns, regardless of who the player is, it's just going to apply these traits to them. And so if I go ahead and sprint, oh yeah, that's awesome. Wow. My gosh. So, well, there you go. So that is how you, oh my goodness. This is too much fun. So there's all different kinds of stuff that you can do with this. I'm sure gameplay wise, you can connect all different kinds of events. So if we go back here to our, still getting used to some of these key bindings. Instead of this on player spawn, you could do all different kinds of stuff. You could do, you could trigger it whenever any of these different events happen. I mean, you could do it when you enter a vehicle, exit a vehicle, you can get creative. So anyways, I thought I'd just go ahead and show that. And by the way, you don't necessarily need to make this entire trait list if you just want one. So if I go ahead and just delete a couple of these and I just do our slide speed right here, and then I just add this trait in, we can also do that. And that was for our slide. So if I go back and now I go again, I can, if I sprint, or sorry, excuse me, slide, you can see the slide is modified and it's just the slide. So you don't have to make it too crazy. If you don't need to, it's best to keep things as simple as possible when you can. So, but anyways, that wraps it up for this one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Please let me know if there's anything that you need help with or that you would like to see. I'd love to make more content for you and just walk you through this stuff. So anyways, take care everybody, and goodbye.